What up, y'all? Welcome to the Yeah, I Said It podcast, the very first episode of the Yeah, I Said It podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for taking time out of their day to tune in and to listen to your boy talk about a little bit of sports. But this is not going to be a podcast that's going to be based on solely on sports. We're definitely going to talk about some issues, relationship issues, life issues, just things that we go through on a daily basis. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from Dayton, Ohio, born and raised. I've been living in Charlotte, North Carolina for about 7 years now. I am married, been married for about a year and a half. I've been with my wife for about 10 years. It's not all my fault, ladies. I did not wait that long. It just happened like that. Don't be looking at me sideways, things like that. It ain't all on me. But I'm going to have my wife on because she provides a different perspective on a lot of different things and a lot of different topics. She just sees things that I can't see. But today it's about them sports. And we're going to go over the NFL draft, and we're going to go over the history of the NFL draft, some hits, some misses, reaches. Pretty much all the quarterbacks are reaches, and you're going to hear why. So to start off, we're going to go over the past, let's say 10 years or so, a little bit longer than that, let's say 2007. Okay, I'm going to start at 2007. The very first pick in the 2007 NFL draft was Jamarcus Russell, and he went to the Raiders. Okay, I didn't even know who Jamarcus Russell, because I used to record the draft with my brother every year. I think all the way up until, I want to say 2005. But I watch the draft every year. It's like an event for me. I was going to go to the draft this year, but got canceled, Corona. But it is what it is. But Jamarcus Russell was the number one pick in 2007. You know who the number two pick was? Calvin Johnson, future Hall of Famer. Number three pick, Joe Thomas, future Hall of Famer. I mean, come on, y'all. You know who else was in this draft? LaRon Landry. He was pretty good, but had a better career than Jamarcus Russell. See, I didn't know who Jamarcus Russell was until this draft, because he's a quarterback and he had a big arm. Everybody was like, oh, he's the guy. He's the man that you want to pick, and they need a quarterback. Just because you need a quarterback doesn't mean that is the guy you need to get. See, this is my theory. You don't really need a quarterback to win a championship. You need a quarterback to win multiple championships. And out of all of these quarterbacks that I'm about to name, how many of them has multiple championships? None of them. I'm talking about from 2007 on. None of them that were number one overall. None of them that went in the top 5, except for one. But none of them that are number one overall picks are Super Bowl champions. Think about that. And I just named 2 Hall of Famers right after Jamarcus Russell was picked. I'm not even getting into Adrian Peterson was picked 7th in that draft. Patrick Willis was picked 11th in that draft. Marshawn Lynch was picked 12th in that draft. Like, come on, man. It's just the history of the NFL. I mean, people say, like, oh, it's great to go back now and grade them, and this is how I would do it. But no, even at that time, you knew that they weren't the best player. You should, see, this is my theory. You should always take the best player that you need at that time. If that quarterback doesn't grade out to where you feel like he should be, like, in the future, I feel like they thought that when they saw his big arm, but I didn't even know throughout the college football season, because I love college football as well. Jamarcus Russell did not pop up on my screen or my radar. I'm just saying. So, you go forward for about another year and a half, 2 years. 2009, very first draft pick, Matthew Stafford. Then you go down the list of the players that was picked after him. I would say that was a pretty darn good pick, because the number 2 pick after him was Jason Smith. Jason Smith was a tackle out of Baylor. He was very good, but he had a lot of concussion issues by the time he got to the NFL. I remember him being on the field. He had like a helmet and then like another helmet on top of that, which is crazy. And Aaron Curry got picked. He was the number 4 pick. Wasn't that great of a player. Never really panned out. But you also got a player down further. You get your Brian Orakpos and your Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins was a big-time football player at Ohio State. I'm an Ohio State football fan, but I know talent when I see it. You just know. And you take it. Michael Crabtree was taken in that draft as well. I would say it's fair that you picked Matthew Stafford, because Matthew Stafford is a very good quarterback. But he just ain't in that elite status. I feel like you need to be an elite player to go number 1. When he was at Georgia, he was very good. So I see how he went number 1. In this instance, this is one you're doing like revisionist history. Like, oh, yeah, Malcolm Jenkins, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Maybe he's on the verge. Brian Orakpo, he had a very good career to a certain point. Then he kind of fell off. So, I mean, I think that's kind of like a wash. I feel like you picked the best player available during this one, even though I would agree that Malcolm Jenkins has had a better NFL career than he had. He had a better college football career than he had because he was a Jim Thorpe Award winner. But you're not going to go defensive back number 1 in the draft because you don't feel like that as a need at the time. You feel like the quarterback position is more of a need. And I understand Matthew Stafford being picked number 1, but he had Calvin Johnson in a couple of years that he had him, for majority of his career. Calvin Johnson is one of the greatest football players to ever lace up some cleats. The man ran a 4.35 in somebody else's cleats. Come on, y'all. Matthew, and since Calvin been gone, you haven't heard anything from him. He's been good, but he ain't been great. But I understand them going number 1 right there. I would agree with that. I would have taken him too if I needed a quarterback. Then let's go to 2010 Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford always was hurt in college. He always had a little knick-knack injury in college. Got to the NFL, same thing. That's kind of how I feel about Tua now. Like he's always having something wrong with his lower extremities, his ankle, his thigh, his hip. Just things that's continuously hampering him from being the greatest player he can be. I feel like he's Matthew Stafford 2.0. The very next pick after Matthew Stafford, Ndamukong Suh. Then you had Gerald McCoy. Then you had Trent Williams. Then you had Eric Berry. Then you had Russell Okung, was very good for a little while. These are all players that were better than Sam Bradford in the NFL. At any point in his career. At any point. You had Joe Hayden next. TJ Spiller there for a while. He was pretty good. You also had Earl Thomas. Come on, y'all. Like, think about it. Pick the best player. Don't pick the player that you feel is the best at the position. Pick the best player at a position that you need. And if you feel like it's too high, trade it. Because think about it. How would the Rams be different if they didn't go Sam Bradford and they went Ndamukong Suh? Or Gerald McCoy? Or Trent Williamson? Or Eric Berry? Or Joe Hayden? Or Earl Thomas? And I'm not even going all the way down the first round. Come on, y'all. That's reaching. That is the classic case of reaching because he's the best quarterback available and you need a quarterback, so you grab a quarterback. If he's not good enough, don't get him. This is what I say all the time. If he's not good enough, don't get him. Then we're gonna go to 2011. You got Cam Newton. Cam Newton went number 1 overall. Now, you tell me. Now, this is a very good debate because Cam Newton won an MVP. Cam Newton can ball. He can ball. But I feel like when players, especially quarterbacks, that can run, no longer want to run, they just want to be passers. But what they fail to realize is that by your threat to run helps your ability to pass. And then you can improve that because you're passing a lot. Practice makes perfect, people. It then, when you don't want to run, it hampers your ability to throw. And it don't help that you ain't got no top flight receivers. You know, I'm just saying. He had Steve Smith for a little while, but then they took him away. Then what is he going to be? But he had a bad boy defense that pretty much carried him to the Super Bowl, and he ran his way to the Super Bowl, and he threw too. He can ball. The number 2 pick in this draft after Cam, Von Miller. Number 4 pick, AJ Green. These are players that I really feel like, just be honest. Yeah, Cam won the MVP that 1 year. Then after that, what happened to him? He's been to 3 Pro Bowls. All these players that I'm about to name have been to more Pro Bowls than he has. Therefore, they've had the better career. AJ Green, Von Miller was picked after him. Julio Jones was picked after him. Mike Pouncey. I'm not even going all the way down. Again, I'm not even going all the way down this first round, people. Like, there are players. When Cam Newton came out, did I think he was the best player in the draft? Probably so. It was warranted. You went to a Super Bowl with him, but then you didn't protect him. So if you're going to get a quarterback and you're going to start your team with a quarterback, so basically all of these players that are quarterbacks and got picked number 1 overall, you're basically starting your team with the quarterback. Because they don't, at the time, they do not have an offensive line to protect this quarterback. Then you want to get the offensive line to protect him. Cam Newton at that time, he was the best player coming out of college football. I ain't gonna stunt. I thought he was the best player. He was that dude. I understood the pick. This is more just another one that you can argue like, could they have picked Von Miller? Could they have picked AJ Green? Could they have picked Patrick Peterson? Julio Jones? I mean, you got J.J. Watt was picked in the same draft. Like, think about the players that you probably could have acquired if you had traded the pick and you could have got multiple picks. This is what I'm leading up to something, guys. But that is a very debatable one. I would have probably went Cam Newton on that one, even though those different Hall of Fame players are going after him. I probably would have went Cam Newton because I still actually believe in Cam Newton if he decides that he wants to run more, and he can be that guy again. He can be that MVP football player again. Moving on to 2012, you had Andrew Luck. Who got picked after Andrew Luck? You got Robert Griffin III. You had Trent Richardson. You made a great pick. You made a great pick. I believe Andrew Luck was the best player in that draft. Because when you're going down the list of the players that were picked after him, you have Luke Kuechly. You got Stephon Gilmore. Now, you ask the Colts right now which one of them players that you would have loved to have. You probably would have loved to have either one of those players. But I felt that was the right pick. But then you don't protect him. You didn't sign the offensive lineman that year. You try to draft them, but when you're drafting offensive linemen, you're not sure about any of these players. But coming out, I agree with this pick. But now he not playing no more. And if you go over, let's just go over the players that what I've said so far, that like how many Pro Bowls have these players been to? So Jamarcus Russell 0, Matthew Stafford 1, Sam Bradford 0, Cam Newton 3, Andrew Luck 4. Andrew Luck only played like what, 7, 8 seasons? And then he broke down because you didn't protect him. So what's the point of getting that dude if you ain't gonna protect him? He gonna break down, especially in today's NFL when everybody bigger, stronger, and faster. He gonna break down. And he gonna be done. Let's go to the next year. You have Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston has been to 1 Pro Bowl in his entire career. He was drafted in 2015. That was about 5 years ago now. He was picked number 1 overall. Number 2 was Marcus Mariota. Did I think Jameis Winston was the best player in college football that year? No. I think he was the most charismatic. I think Marcus Mariota got exposed when he played Ohio State in that championship game that year. Because he didn't look special to me. I wouldn't have picked him. But these teams pick players because we need a quarterback. Just because you need a quarterback doesn't mean you need to draft one. You can sign a veteran quarterback, see how that pans out until you get a quarterback that is graded out as that top player. And then if they do grade out as the top player, protect them. Understand that you got to protect that quarterback with an offensive line or defense that can give the quarterback short fields and better opportunities to score. And his learning curve will be much shorter because he has shorter fields to work with. That's what they did with Cam Newton. They didn't do it with Andrew Luck. They just didn't protect him. They didn't really give him a defense. And he was just out there balling because he's that dude. But he couldn't last that long. He's like, man, look, man, I'm out here playing with a ruptured spleen. Like, come on, y'all. Do better. Now, the players that was drafted after Jameis Winston, you got Amari Cooper. You got Todd Gurley. You got Melvin Gordon. These are all players that has had a better career than him or Mariota. I feel that they probably made the right pick when they picked him, meaning Jameis Winston. But then you didn't give him an offensive line. You didn't get him he had a defense. He had weapons. He just turns the ball over way too much, and you've seen that in college too. He just turns it over way too much. But they thought they knew that he was a gunslinger like Brett Favre. But that don't work in today's NFL, bro. Not when you turn it over that much. The man he don't even play with the Buccaneers anymore. He's a free agent. The man just had 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Like, that's wow. You turn the ball over 30 times. How many Super Bowls have we seen with these quarterbacks that I've named so far? 0. We've had Super Bowl appearances, not Super Bowl wins. You have Cam Newton, and the man I'm just coming to now, Jared Goff. Jared Goff went number 1 overall in the 2016 draft. Number 2 was Carson Wentz. Now let's just sit here right there and pause and think about the names that I'm about to tell you right now. Both of them they were actually Ohio State Buckeyes. Joey Bosa and Ezekiel Elliott. Then right after him, Jalen Ramsey. Then you had Ronnie Stanley. Stanley, I'm sorry. Wasn't too great. Then you got DeForest Buckner, San Francisco. But think about if the Rams did a okay job, but Jared Goff was not the best player in college football. Let's be real. If we're going off of who was the best players in college football when they came out, Joey Bosa and Ezekiel Elliott. Jalen Ramsey was probably the third best player. DeForest Buckner could play. Then you had Laramie Tunsil somewhere in there. He got picked. Where did he get picked? Because I remember the whole weed mask thing came out. It was 13th overall. I think Will Fuller was in that draft, I believe. Yeah, he was. But from what I saw of Jared Goff, would I have picked him number one? Heck no. I would have picked Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, number one overall. I know who the best players in college football are. Now, if I don't need a defensive end and I need a running back, because they did just draft, they had already had Todd Gurley, then you trade the pick because Jared Goff is not the answer that you seek. People still are unsure about Jared Goff. But Jared Goff has made 2 Pro Bowls since 2016. He made the Super Bowl the year before last. But is he that guy that's going to take you over the hump? No. You don't believe in him like that. Do you feel like he's a top 10 quarterback? Maybe. He's on the verge. Possibly. He's been to 2 Pro Bowls. Do I fear Jared Goff? No. As you're reading, as I'm going down this list, come on, guys. Let's be real. Let's talk about it. Do you fear any of these quarterbacks right now? Some of them even in the league. Matthew Stafford? A little bit, if he got some weapons. Sam Bradford, is he even still in the league? I don't think so. I don't know. He's probably somebody's backup. Cam Newton? You do when he's healthy. Andrew Luck, he's not in the league no more because they didn't protect him. But when he was playing, yeah, you feared him because he was that dude. Jameis Winston, I never did. Jared Goff, I never did. Then we come to the ultimate. What I feel is the ultimate reach, ultimate disrespect. And some people was, and every Browns fan that I talk to right now would do this in a heartbeat today. In a heartbeat. They drafted one great player and didn't draft another one. Baker Mayfield went number 1 overall in the year 2018. He has made 0 Pro Bowls. He has yet to take his team to the playoffs. Who went number 2? Saquon Barkley. Number 3 was Sam Darnold. The jury's still out on him. He's too young to know. He had the kissing disease this year, so you really don't know what he can be. Then you had Bradley Chubb go. But then you pick Denzel Ward. He's already made a Pro Bowl. I think got hurt this year. That's how you pick. Great pick. But you could have had Saquon Barkley. Some people wouldn't take a running back number 1, and you will if it's Saquon Barkley or Ezekiel Elliott. Those are 2 top running backs in the NFL right now. Him, and then you got Alvin Kamara. Yeah, them 3 right there. I'll take any one of those 3 over Baker Mayfield, and I'll take him number 1 because he's the best player. When he coming out of college, we all knew who's the best player. Saquon Barkley was the best player. I saw him play at Penn State. I seen him play against Ohio State. The boy can ball. He can just flat out ball. He can change the game. He can do it. He changes your offense from day one. Those are the people that needs to be number 1 overall draft picks. Out of this list, there are 2 players out of all of these players that changes your offense in the way that you do in attack defenses from day one. That's Cam Newton and Andrew Luck. Everybody else, nah. Matthew Stafford, you don't fear Matthew Stafford if he ain't got Megatron on the outside. Without Megatron, you're like, yeah, he can still sling that thing, but I don't feel like he gonna beat me because of his ability. He can throw. He can do a lot of great things. But if he ain't got nobody to throw to, I ain't worried about it. And it's been that way since Calvin Johnson retired. When Calvin Johnson said, "I'm gone, I'm out," Matthew been like, I need some help. The Lions haven't drafted a wide receiver in the first round in a minute, bro. Like, hey, I need a game changer. Help me out with a game changer, and we can see what we can do. That is just not a good look. And that's it. That's the last quarterback to go number 1 overall. Now, think about it in terms of players that wasn't even picked in the top 8 picks that were quarterbacks. Then you got Patrick Mahomes. You got Deshaun Watson, who was picked in the same draft. And I thought Deshaun Watson was the best player in college football. I'm going to keep it 1,000%. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and try to say that I thought it was someone else or somebody from Ohio State. Yeah, I'm an Ohio boy, but I know when I see it. When you see it, you see it. That dude right there, he can ball. And what the Texans are doing, think about when they took off, when they protected him. So when you get a quarterback, you have to protect the quarterback, and then you have to give him a defense to be able to give him short fields that gets turnovers, or at least stops the other person from scoring so he can win the game. Because he can't win. This is the problem. This is what's going to be the problem with the Kansas City Chiefs here pretty soon coming up. When they run into good defenses, they have offenses that it's at least comparable, to have the weapons to actually score points. That's what happened in the Super Bowl. The San Francisco 49ers did not have the offense to score points. That's why everybody thought that the Kansas City Chiefs was going to win. But they had the defense to stop anybody. You got to protect the QB. This is how you build teams. You build teams from the inside out. You go from the offensive line to defensive line out. You build it from the inside out. Because if you don't have an offensive line, why are you picking a quarterback, number 1? And that brings me to this year's draft. After everything we just talked about, y'all, do Joe Burrow strike fear in you with his ability? Think about the top 5 quarterbacks that you think in your mind, just off the top of your head. Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, got Lamar Jackson. All of those players scare you with their ability to run, pass, their accuracy. Lamar Jackson's accuracy has improved. Oh my God, like leaps and bounds. And I don't even like the Ravens. I can't stand them or the Steelers or the Browns for that matter. They all in my division. I can't stand them. Don't like them. Never will. But the truth is, his ability to do things on the football field separates him from everybody else. Is he that kind of guy? Is he that kind of dude? In my opinion, no. Now, the extraordinary thing that he does is the same thing that Tom Brady and Drew Brees does. They anticipate throws. And it's going to take them a while to get to do that. And in order to do that and have that kind of football player, you have to be able to protect him. As a Cincinnati Bengals fan and a lifelong one, I go back to Carl Pickens, then Corey Dillon. Like, I go back. And I ain't never jumped ship because that's just the kind of dude I am. But come on, y'all. Let's be real. They don't have enough players on the offensive line as a Cincinnati Bengals organization to protect him on a consistent basis. They just don't. If they did, I'll be all for it. But we don't. And that's why you see some and it's like, oh, they're going to ruin him because they're the Cincinnati Bengals. No. They will ruin him if they can't protect him. Just like the Colts did with Andrew Luck. Just like the Panthers did. Because you start to have linemen retire. You don't pick up linemen. You don't give him players to throw to. Now, Cincinnati he has receivers to throw to now. A.J. Green, he got franchised. You still got A.J. Green. And the receiver Tate, man, he showed me something last year. I ain't gonna stunt on you. Him with A.J., and then you got Tyler Boyd coming up too. Man, listen. And John Ross, don't get me started. He just got to be healthy, man. And with the offense that they have, what they need is an offensive line. What you should do with the number 1 pick is to pick the best player available, which is Chase Young. Chase Young is, you plug and play him, and he changes your whole entire defense from that day forth. And then, let me speak on this. And I got to keep it 100. When I'm watching ESPN, and you got people like, Stephen A. up there talking about the Bengals and this and that and the third, and that they ain't going to never be nothing. And he say that about the Cowboys, too. But he's a Steelers fan. What do you expect him to say, y'all? What do y'all expect him to say? He's the one that said, I want Marvin Lewis fired. Okay, great. What are they once they fired him? We got the number 1 pick. I ain't had the number 1 pick. What? Since Kajana Carter, Dan Wilkinson? Like, bro, we on a new level of terrible right now. And then when you watch the games, it's it's just like we missing something. It's like, man, y'all not that bad. You're really not. Y'all have players. You have players to do these things, but what are y'all missing? You need offensive line play. Offensive line play fixes a lot of ills. That's what's wrong. That's what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. They have the offensive line play, but then they don't have the receivers. You have Amari Cooper, yeah, but you need that second guy or that tight end that can change the game. I don't think Amari Cooper is the receiver that can change the game. And you have to game plan for him. You have to put your best cornerback on him, but you got to be able to change the game from an offensive standpoint. I feel like the Cowboys are in a very good position. But sticking to the draft, Joe Burrow should not go number 1. It should be Chase Young. It should be Isaiah Simmons. It should be a defender. It should be Jeff Okudah. It should be a defender. Because those are the 3 best players in college football. And it's not even close. See, now, he had a great year. But what did Joe Burrow do before this year? He was a very average football player. If you see all the analysis and all the analysts on ESPN, Fox, wherever you want to go, CBS, anywhere you want to go. Last year, before this past season, his junior season, I know Joe Burrow because he was a Ohio State football player. He could not beat out Dwayne Haskins. They did not want him to leave because they knew if Dwayne shows out, he leaving, then it's your turn. When you at a university like that, it's next man up. But Joe's like, nah, I don't really want to leave. And you even heard Joe say it. I didn't expect it to be with this university or me to be having this jersey on. But it's pretty darn awesome that I do. That means I really wanted to be in Ohio doing this. Because he's an Ohio dude. And that's what I love about him. I love the fact that he's an Ohio dude. But is he the best player, though? No. We need the best player. Especially when we're ranked in the bottom half on offense and defense. And if you're looking at the draft as a whole right now, all the defensive teams that suck are in the top portion of the draft. Our offense last year, our record was 2-14, 30th in offense, 25th in defense. That tells me the offensive line was not blocking enough. That tells me my defense wasn't great. At one point, I think we were last in every defensive category. Like, bro. If you can't stop nobody, how you gonna expect to win games? And I've already said this. You cannot build your team with the quarterback first if you don't have an offensive line. It ain't gonna work. It never works. We just went through the whole list. It never works. Why do they keep doing it and expecting a different result? I don't know. That's the definition of insanity. Why would I start my team with Jamarcus Russell when I don't have an offensive line? Why would I start my team with Matthew Stafford when I don't have an offensive line? Or Sam Bradford? Or Jameis Winston? Or Jared Goff? You know when Jared Goff got good? When they got Andrew Whitworth, an offensive lineman, who really should get his due. He needs to be a Hall of Famer. Let's keep it 100. He needs to be a Hall of Famer. He is the man. I'm not saying that just because he was a Bengal, but he never got his just due until he went to the Rams and they went to that Super Bowl. But that's when Jared Goff clicked and turned it around. You got to protect them. You can't start your team with the quarterback if you can't protect him, or you don't plan on protecting him. You got to give him an offensive line first. If you don't, he's going to fail. You're setting him up for failure. You have to put him in a position to win. You're putting him in a position to lose. He's in a winless situation. Like Andrew Luck and RG3, they went 1 and 2 in the draft. Neither one had an offensive line. And the only reason why RG3 was any kind of good the first year is because he was running around. He's running for first downs. He's scrambling for touchdowns. He's running from the breakdown in the protection. You have to protect the quarterback first. If you're going to draft a quarterback, number one, make sure your offensive line is at least decent. Now, the Bengals' offensive line, for the most part last year, was trash. Trash, absolutely garbage. Joe Burrow does not have the athletic ability. I'm going to say it again. Joe Burrow does not have the athletic ability to scramble like an RG3 or any other quarterback that runs. He's not fast enough. He's not elusive enough. He can make you miss a little bit, but he's not that dude. Don't expect that to transfer over to the NFL. He's not that guy. He's more of a pocket passer. He is a slippery type of guy as far as like I can slip a tackle or I can step up and I can throw it, which is great. Those are all qualities that you need in the NFL. He does a lot of things good. He don't do nothing great. Only thing that I can honestly say that he does great is throwing anticipation throws. That's what he's great at. No real Bengal fans, not ones that I became a Bengal fan 5 years ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago, or a kid that, I watch some football here and there, or I watch football, but yeah, what we need is a quarterback. He was not the problem last year. The offensive line was the problem. Let's keep it 100,000% accurate here, people. The offensive line was the problem. And that's pretty much the problem with everybody who's picking in the top tier of the draft. The offensive line and the defense is absolutely horrible. If you don't have an offensive line and a defensive line, you're going to be trash. Hence, you have the number 1 pick in the draft. You have the number 2 pick in the draft. You have the number 3 pick in the draft. If I just read you off, just defense. We ain't even going to talk about offensive line. Just defense. Top 5 defenses that's going to be picking in this year's NFL draft. Number 1 is the Bengals with they're 25th. Then you got number 2, the Redskins, 27th. You got number 3, Detroit, 29th. Number 4, New York Giants, 28th. Number 5, the Dolphins, 30th. Offense was 24th overall, the Dolphins. And they're talking about they're going to trade up. And they're going to trade 3 first-round picks to the Cincinnati Bengals. Bruh. As a Cincinnati Bengal fan, I'll do that right now. I'll do it. And I'll slide myself all the way down to 5. Somebody else going to trade up and try to get Tua. Somebody else going to trade up and think that Justin Herbert's that guy. I don't believe in him either. Now, I believe in Tua, but I can't believe in him to the point to where I believe in his ability. Let me say that. I don't believe in him staying healthy. His ability, yeah. His ability, but hey, he that dude. He that dude now. He can hit a fly from 50 yards away. He that dude now. He reminds me a lot of Drew Brees. People like to disrespect Drew Brees and not respect him to the point. When I say disrespect, I mean in the sense of he's not one of the all-time greats. He's one of the all-time great quarterbacks. I watched him when he was at Purdue playing against Ohio State. That boy can sling it. He can put it anywhere you want him to put it. You want it on the back shoulder. You want it to jump a jump ball where you want it. You got to be able to protect the quarterback. If you don't, what are we doing here? If the name of the game is to win championships, none of them quarterbacks I just named won a championship. Not one. 2 of them went to the Super Bowl. But not one has won a championship. Not one. Not Jared Goff. Not Cam Newton. Not Andrew Luck. Not Sam Bradford. Not Matthew Stafford. Definitely not Jamarcus Russell. Or Baker Mayfield. None of them. Those are all your number 1 picks from 2017 on. And most of them were reaches. Jamarcus Russell was a reach. Matthew Stafford was I would have traded out of that pick, to be honest. Sam Bradford was definitely a reach. He was not the best player in college football when he came out. And that was evident when he got to the league because he couldn't stay healthy, one. Cam Newton, yeah, I see it. Andrew Luck, yeah, I see it. Everybody else, Jameis Winston, nah. Jared Goff, hell no. Baker Mayfield, hell to the no. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Yeah, I Said It. I appreciate you guys for stopping by and listening to your boy talk about a little bit of sports. On the next episode, we're going to go a little bit more in depth on the draft coming up this year. The mock drafts that are out there and who they got people taking. And I'll give you my opinion on whether they should take that player or not, or make that trade or not. Because, you got mock drafts out there with different trades and trade options. So, last but not least, I want to say happy birthday to my beautiful grandma. She just had a birthday that just passed. Without her, I would not be doing this. But Granny, I love you. Thanks again for you guys stopping by. Look forward to the next episode of Yeah, I Said It. I'll holla at y'all. Till next time.